Bandai just dropped the latest banned and restricted list for November 2023, and there's lots to talk about. Alright, here we are at the official worlddigimoncard.com website, and right at the front we can see right here banned and restricted cards effective November 17th, 2023. There's a lot of really cool things to go through, a lot of surprises, and let's just get right into it right here. And I did take a quick skim, just to prepare myself a little bit in advance, otherwise I have no idea what to say, but a little bit of a live reaction. I didn't really get to read too much of the details, so let's get right into it. So for those who don't know, banned and restricted cards are basically, if a card is banned, you're basically not allowed. If a card is restricted, you're only allowed one copy, and you guys can see all the instructions here when you get to the page. I'll leave a link in the description box down below to this exact page if you guys want to try to find it. But the first one right here is already catching me off guard. Restricted down to 1. Starter deck 603 Gabumon, the purple one that has, when attacking, trigger draw 1, trash 1. And this one's definitely a little bit surprising. I've seen what this card can do. It's actually really, really good because it's not once per turn. And with the whole synergy of like Garurumon being able to unsuspend, do it multiple times, it is a very, very, very strong rookie. But let's see what Bandai has to say about this one. Digimon with effects that can attack in succession are able to send targeted cards to the trash at a faster rate than expected. That's true. And output of effects that take advantage of the trash and stability of the deck is higher than expected due to the inherited effects of this card to exchange hands multiple times in one turn. Yeah, basically, it's a very, very important core of the engine for the entire Gabumon and Garurumon line, but I think, this package and this engine has facilitated to many other decks to use it as a core instead, which is getting out of hand in the Japanese format, I do believe. In addition to this above, this card is level 3. It can digivolve into Gabumon X antibody at 0 cost, so the timing of the inheritable is highly flexible, which narrows down the range of design of active effects and effects utilizing trash. For above the reason, decide to restrict this down to 1. So yeah, again, we haven't really experienced it just yet in the English format, but again, like I mentioned, I think I did some playtesting with like BT15 or EX5 a little bit ahead of time, and I've seen this. Being able to do this again and again and again is very powerful. It's way more powerful than milling. It's incredibly strong because, again, you draw so much, you pitch so much, you're basically choosing what you want to have in the trash at that point, which is a little bit too crazy. Next one, another Gabumon hit, and I was really surprised for this one too. You guys know I've always talked about how strong this one is. Together with the Ison package, because on deletion you get to draw and trash cards. Exact same concept overall. It's very versatile among the hand exchange effects due to its ability to send targeted cards to the trash while increasing the number of cards in hand with the inherited effect. Yes, you're always just drawing one when you're deleting every single time. Essentially, you're always adding an extra card. In addition, since it has the effect that is level 3 evolution source, it can perform this hand exchange with a very easy early stage. Yep, it's always been that. And as a result, it's too powerful, needs to be used in other methods, thus decided to limit this card for above reason. Yeah, restricted down to 1. I think they also did this probably because if the above Gabumon right here is restricted down to 1, everyone's going to play this one as well. But now the purple base of the Melgar deck is insanely heavily hit at this point. And this changes a lot of things, especially in the competitive format moving forward too. Because the first reaction is, if I can't play this one, I would immediately just switch to this one and sort of be able to compensate a little bit. They both have different usages because the first one is the starter deck 6 one, you don't want it to be deleted. So it has a very different approach. But this one, you do want it to be deleted. But you guys seen how strong this card is when it comes to Beostar with the whole Ison package as well. You're able to draw and trash cards very, very quickly. It's been very, very strong. And I guess during previous formats it's always been okay, but I guess maybe in the future formats, which again I'm not entirely sure until we get all those new cards coming, I guess it gets more and more insane. So yeah, and I do remember a lot of decks start playing this engine just because of Apocalymon as well. So very, very interesting. This one definitely, again, a very surprising one. BT13 Geog Greymon is getting hit outright. This is a really powerful level 4 because it gives you access to the security, and you can play a Marcus potentially for free. Not even just a Marcus, a yellow Tamer, yellow or red Tamer, I believe, which is really insane. There's like almost no cost to this. You get to look at your security for information as well at the same time. Yeah, I think this card is actually a little bit too powerful as a level 4. And you guys see in Shine Gray how you're able to turbo out, Marcus for free again and again and again so many times so quickly. I can see. We're going to talk about other cards that we think might be hit later on or should have been hit. But for now, let's quickly see what Bandai has to say. When using Shine Greymon decks, Marcus Damon becomes essential to the play. Cards intended to be similar to the BT12 Geog Greymon that plays Tamers. However, because it can play Tamers from areas other than the hand, exactly. That's the main thing. You're being able to access a resource, which is yellow specialty, which other colors can't. It does really ramp up the speed and the reliability of playing Marcuses. Greater than predicted, leading a greater position of one-shot wins with Shine Greymon decks is true because this card is Vaccine. Yellow Vaccine also allows Tamers to be played at speeds greater than predicted when BT14 Patamon is included. Yep, BT14 Patamon becomes a main rookie in Shine Greymon deck, that's what I heard. But not only that, this Geog Greymon can be played in like any other yellow-based decks because it's just so generic. Even though you have to pay 3 memory to not Digivolve for 2 on top of Agumon, it's a lot. It's a great payoff, really. In addition, at level 4 and higher, an effect allows for playing from security stack instead from the hand. Because it specifies red or yellow Tamer, this card design limited to use red or yellow Tamers. For the above reasons, decide to restrict this card down to 1. I'm just curious if they actually change the wording, not to red or yellow Tamer, if they switch it just to Marcus specifically, if it would change a lot. But I still know, like, even if they put it to Marcus in like the next format coming, it's still going to be incredibly strong because that's the whole core engine of it. But I'm just trying to see like what happens if they put it away from it being more generic and more, archetype specific. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think honestly we see this coming. Shine Greymon is going to get hit either one way or another. It's incredibly strong right now in BT13 in English. It's still incredibly strong in BT14 and still, I think, decently viable like moving forward for a long while just because of how fast, how strong it is. And yeah, we all know about that. Moving on next, we have Apocalymon now. And this one I feel a little bit sad because I like to play blue decks a lot. And I do know Mirage Ganon is also insanely strong as soon as BT14 drops because we get like training cards, we get the Apocalymon egg, which gives it jamming consistently. And this one's very generic, incredibly powerful again because, when Digivolve you bounce a level 4, but most importantly, it basically just lets you unsuspend when attacking once per turn if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand. And it's very easily achievable with the Mirage Ganon deck. And yeah, it's a little bit shame. We're going to see a nerfed Mirage Ganon coming in, but let's see what the reason is. When using Mirage Ganon, pairing this card inherited effect with cards such as EX4 Galmon or EX4 Galgamon allows faster digital evolutions to level 6 than predicted. Yeah, that is true because you bounce a level 4 and you get to gain like 1 or 2 memory off of it. Pretty neat overall, making it essentially makes the level 5 like a 1 cost. As a result, interfering with the opponent's move using the BT11 Mirage Ganon was faster than the Galgamon cards. In addition, for conditions of unsuspending effect, in this card's inheritor are looser than other Galgamons, which is true as well, since it activates when attacking, allowing for greater attacking capabilities. As a result, for these two factors, Galgamon cards fall by the wayside, and Mirage Galgamon decks have greater stability than predicted. And again, for those reasons, they restricted it down to 1. Now, I personally haven't really experienced the Galgamon deck in BT14 myself yet, but again, I heard it's incredibly strong. Being able to attack and suspend, it's like the whole blue stuff again, OTK out of nowhere, do a ton of damage out of nowhere. So I guess, yeah, this makes sense. I would, again, I think many of us did feel Mirage Ganon is going to be hit one way or another. Unfortunate that for us English players, we don't really get a taste of it and get to see what it's like, but that's totally fine. And yeah, this one again. Oh my. Ison Scattered mode is joining Ison in the restricted list. The BT7 Ison. Simple effect, on deletion, draw 3, trash 2. That's all it does. It synergizes with the Gabumon, with the undulation effect that which we saw earlier, and I think they're just nerfing at the entire engine. It is a very, very good engine. I never felt it was that overpowered, but maybe because at this point now in the, in the most recent meta for Japanese and even maybe now, like it's just a very reliable engine, very generic, very, very good. Almost any purple deck would play it essentially if you're not playing Beelzemon or if you're not milling, I guess. Because of the low end early game combos it can facilitate to you, is just really good chipping away damage on your opponent's security, drawing cards, trashing cards, setting up, finding pieces all at the same time, just for 2 costs to digivolve through your stack, and in combination with Demi-Meramon, has always been really, really good. It has been a long effective card in decks that utilize trashing, but its ability to exchange large amount of number of cards at level 4 has greatly reduced the usage rate of other cards with hand exchange effects. In addition, the effect is so powerful that the deck designed to utilize trash must be based on this card. For the above reasons, they decided to restrict this card down to 1, which is exactly what I just said too. So I guess it makes sense, but I am definitely surprised because as this current stage, I didn't feel like it was that powerful, but maybe again in future formats when we get like BT14, EX5, BT15, maybe everybody's playing this card. Like it's like purple dominance all over again, maybe. Not all over again, but like purple dominance everywhere, just because of how consistent it really is. So yeah. Okay, now moving on to card ban lifted on November 17th. Now this one I'm actually most excited about. It's basically cards that are coming off the list, and now you're going to be allowed 4 copies back of these cards, and I'm really excited because I'm very curious to see what they're gonna bring back. But yeah, let's get right into it. First one, I'm super happy about this. I had this in my mind. Everyone was talking about this. I had this in mind. Savor Hakmon from BT6. Man. Wow, it's been a long time. Is Jesmon making a comeback? Who knows? This is actually going to be crazy because now I'm going to be start cooking ideas, trying to play a new Jesmon build to utilize more of this. Who knows? There's always an argument. People are saying that the newer Savor Hucks are just better because it straight outright lets you play Sistermons. When you're with its inheritable, so it's always consistent, which I understand. But being able to unsuspend in an attack is still also really strong. Keep in mind, this one also lets you play a Systemon once, when you're digivolving into it. And the other thing to keep in mind is that, with from Master to Disciple, with the red training cards, with possibly more, red memory boost, with these kind of 3 cards that Jesmon can work with, you can effectively digivolve into this guy really quickly and go for an insane explosive combo and potentially go back to the OTK style very easily again. So I'm super excited to see how this goes. I'm going to be cooking up some builds. Could this potentially bring back the old Jesmon from BT6 as well? Because that actually has a very nice and reliable effect. And mainly that was how it was played back then. So we'll see. So in the past game environment, when this card was widely used, its effect of BT6 Jesmons allows you to play Sistermons, were very powerful, and when the unsuspending effect inherited it was paired, piercing security stacks could rapidly worn down without being affected by defensive strategies with blocker. However, we have determined that decks can counter these strategies have increased in recent game environments. Therefore, we have decided to, take this out of the restricted list. Yeah, keep in mind, guys, now that we have like ace cards, blast digivolve, counter, and hand traps as well, this could change a lot of things. Overall, this card can be seen as not as powerful as it used to be anymore, but like they mentioned, back in BT6, it is incredibly powerful. There's almost no counter to it. You pair of ADP, swing tons of checks, unsuspend, swing tons of checks, blitz Omni for game, and that was how powerful Jesmon was. The only thing that was kind of like just drawing it down was being bricking and not seeing your pieces, which is not a very interactive playstyle, right? It's just, okay, yeah, if you brick, then you don't see it. It's like, if you see it, you see it. It is what it is. If you don't see it, then that's your only like condition to sort of like win against it. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. This one again, very interesting. Tommy coming down back, stripping sources. This one, this ban list is surprising, very surprising so far. It's got a lot of hits I didn't think about, a lot of hits I think you guys didn't imagine that was going to be coming back off as well. And I actually don't know how to feel about this one, honestly. Tommy coming down, you can strip 3 sources, which is insane. But I guess if I have to think of something to say at the moment, I guess back in the day Digimon was a lot slower So, when it's a slow type of pace, playing Tommy for 3 costs is like not bad at all, right? You get to control the game a bit more, take out sources, stun stuff, and combo. But now, like with the game being a lot more faster, how effective is it to actually play a Tommy for 3 costs in one whole turn? I guess that's my only like sort of like thought about it. But let's just see what they say. In the past game environments when this card was widely used, this card's on play effects was a factor that allowed decks to use hybrid cards, the main cards, to immediately attack more easily and predict more effectively than decks required multiple standard dissolutions, creating a imbalance in play. So I guess they're talking about the whole hybrid strategy. You can just go, one on top of another and attack and attack and attack. Even among hybrid decks, effects in blue hybrid decks prevented attacking and blocking were particularly strong. Yes, this one is definitely really strong. And this led to heavy burden on other decks. However, in recent game environments, there's been an increase in cards that can counter dissolution card removals and can counter effects that prevent attack and blocking. Therefore, they decide to take this out. I don't know how I feel about this as well at the same time. I'm just not entirely sure. It could be it could be a good decision. It could be the right decision. It could be a bad decision. I'm keeping my opinions reserved on this one. I really don't know. I need to see how much change and how much impact, but before we actually see it in action, before I can really say anything else. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. Blue hybrid making a comeback would be very interesting. Again, I guess I'll be cooking up stuff. Lots of deck lists coming up for that. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's basically it. There's view more and that's it. Yeah, these are from the last one and that is basically it. Really, really interesting. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to be making a lot of updated deck lists because of this. But before November 17th, I'm going to definitely posting those deck lists in the Evol Club membership. So if you guys want to see deck lists, updated stuff, first drafts and everything, definitely join the Evol Club. That's where you get to see all of these, especially when it comes to changes. I'm going to be doing them immediately, essentially. And I do appreciate the support, but that's not finished with the video just yet. Because I want to talk about the cards that we as a community expected for it to be hit. And this is going to be a really fun conversation right here. Because the first card is, some of us actually felt like this Mirage Ganon is going to get hit. It's incredibly strong because of its all turns effects. As long as something, it kind of prevents your opponent from searching. It makes it very difficult. A very, very powerful card. And I'm not sure why they didn't hit this one, but whereas they hit the level 5 one instead, I guess level 6s don't really tend to get hit usually, which is very interesting in most trends when it comes to the restricted list. And I think, I don't know, again, I feel like this card shouldn't be hit just because of how unique its effect is. It's just actually really, really great. It forces your opponent to play around it. It doesn't make it unplayable. It just doesn't let them draw a search. And it does help slow down the game pace a little bit, too much into Mirage Gagomon's favor, which is probably why people think it needs to be hit. So I don't know. I'm not entirely sure again. I guess they're just trying to suppress down the offensive side of things of Mirage Gal. That's probably why. But yeah, that's all I can really think of. This one's a big one. Everyone thought, even I thought that this one was going to be hit at 1. Marcus Damon to 1, the BT12 1, because of just how strong it is. Like, think about it. Like, being able to like warp Digivolve insanely and do all those crazy combos. But now thinking about how they hit the Geog Grey makes a little bit more sense to synergize with it. The whole reason why this card is also really strong is because the Geog Grey could potentially play this guy for free, and then you can warp into a level 5, play another Marcus, and then potentially warp into 6. Now you can only really warp from a 5 to a 6 if you ever sort of like go for the main streamline combo. If you have set this guy up prior, then you can just warp to anything you want. That's just how I'm trying to see it. But I do still feel like this card should be restricted down to 1 just because the warping is really strong. Swinging, Digivolving for free is way too good. It's really, really, really powerful. So I don't know. I don't know. But we'll see how effective the Geog Grey is. I do have more remarks based on this entire ban list later on, but let's talk about other cards. People also think HPD was going to get hit. I think this doesn't really need to be hit. I think HPD is really a fair card. It's one of like green's like super secret weapon if they have it, right? And if they hit it, green's going to be really, really weak. And maybe some decks don't even play it right now. Who knows? So I don't know. I think HPD is fine. It's fair. I don't know in terms of like BT 14 and 15 and so on how much more powerful it really is, but I personally just think this is a fine card not to touch to begin with. A lot of people thought this card was gonna get hit, especially in the Japanese like community in the format, because this card is just insanely powerful. For those who don't know, basically you digivolve with 0 on top of like a Garurumon, which you usually do. Draw 2, trash card, draw 2, trash 2, and you get to gain a memory, which is absolutely insane. It has the protection, battle protection as well. Utilizing it, this card is actually very, very powerful. Now there's one main reason why I felt like this card wasn't hit. I felt like the ban list was adjusted, geared, unless if I'm wrong, unless there is a different ban list for the Japanese and the English format at the moment. I feel they didn't hit this card specifically is because they tried to keep the ban list unified. And preemptively hitting cards before that even come out for us in English has been not very well received. And people weren't very happy, I think, when Cross 4 got hit like 2-3 weeks right after BT10 came out. People didn't really get the chance to play with it that much either. I think what Bandai's trying to do here is trying to limit the cards that they can ban or restrict prior from coming out, basically. Because it feels bad for us who are purchasing the product. As soon as you open, say, EX5, and it's, oh, I pulled a Garurumon X, and then it's just like, oh, I can only play one, so I'm just left with a rest of bulk. Anything that I pull more of is basically just bulk. So I can see why they didn't choose to hit anything beyond. And this goes for the same in the next card we're going to talk about. Apocalymon is obviously a menace, apparently, in the JP format right now. It's a secret rare. And this has, again, a very similar application and reasoning for me behind it, is because you don't want to hit cards before it actually comes out for the English. However, I will say that these cards, they probably are going to revisit as soon as it comes out in English, and they probably might do an updated ban list afterwards, and these cards then might get hit. The other reason why it didn't get hit, I feel like, was, for the longest time, people always said, like, oh, Death X should have been hit. Death X never actually got hit in the ban list, other than being, like, the Ultimate Cup format, which I find it very interesting. So I feel like they don't want to hit those level 7 cards. Now, I don't know exactly the reason. This could be a random reason just out of my head. It's probably because you don't want to hit secret rares either, because then it makes purchasing the box less desirable. Usually people like to purchase multiple boxes so they can potentially hit multiple secret rares. Maybe it's also a financial decision back behind it, so I don't know, because, Bandai wants to make profit, makes those like a business decision out there. So yeah, so based on my whole remarks, as we can see, all these cards that they hit are existing for English cards already. So they're trying to find a balance between Japanese format and English format and hit these cards. But again, I'm gonna say this in advance. I won't be surprised that they're gonna be releasing another list updated as soon as, like, say, BT15 comes out. Basically another half a year's time, or 4 or 5 months time after Nats even, or after Worlds. We're gonna get another list updated. And that, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna monitor this as they go and then decide as they go right there. So yeah, that basically just wraps up my whole thought process and the whole discussion out here. Let me know what you guys think. Really surprising here. Can't wait to, cook up new decks and, change up the builds and everything and see how it goes. So yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. We'll see you next video. And this is AVAULT signing out.